Hello and welcome back to the Football Chat podcast. This is episode 116 today, where we're going to be running through our Premier League season review. 2022-23 season is over. It's quite sad. It's been a good season for us, for the channel, and in the Premier League, and now the season is complete. We're here with a bit of a review today, just going through everything, talking about every single team in a bit of detail. And yeah, just talking about the season as a whole. Should we get started from the top? Because we are going to have to crack on. I feel it's going to be the longest video we've ever done. But we'll start with Manchester City, who have been sensational this year.
The fact they look so far out of it and then were suddenly miles clear, it was just so City.
Yeah.
The only City in Pep Guardiola could play in a weird 2-3-4-1 or a weird 2-2-3.
3-2.
Yeah, 3-2-2-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many. It's so confusing, but that's why it works.
Right, it's a sensational formation. What he did is so last season, obviously, when they were in attack, they moved into their 4-2-4, so they could just dominate teams, moving De Bruyne as to one of the strikers. However, this year he wanted that effect, but wanted Haaland playing as the advanced forward, as a player in behind. So he obviously took a defender out of the team and moved him to Haaland up front. So quite intelligent from Pep Guardiola. He's quite good at his job, to be fair to him. And yeah, I think the tactic makes sensational use of positional play, and it's just by far the best tactic we've seen in world football.
It is, and it's worked. Erling Haaland, top goal scorer, 36 goals. Kevin De Bruyne took the Playmaker Award again with 16 assists.
I do think it leaves them a little fragile at the back. They've conceded more than they should have. However, does that matter? Because when Haaland scores 36 goals, does it matter that you concede a couple?
They've kept 13 clean sheets and scored 94 goals.
Yeah.
It's mental.
94 seems low for a City team, especially when Haaland's contributed 36.
Six more than Arsenal. And then they were 20 clear of I can't remember, didn't they?
But yeah, Arsenal don't have a out and out striker, a goal scorer. So
well, that was the big thing with
still very successful though, Manchester City.
That was the big thing with Haaland coming in, is that everyone thought that. Everyone knew that they'd take the world by storm. I know some people have put them winning the title this season down to Erling Haaland, and don't get me wrong, he's helped, but they showed last year that they don't need a striker to win the league.
Yeah, well, obviously they built their system around not having a striker.
Yeah.
And they used midfielders in that role, meaning they could have a better standard of passing build-up play. Now they've obviously done that again, but having Haaland as a player that can just stand on the back line, just press the defence.
They've probably got the greatest player in the world right now.
Arguably, based on form, I think he's definitely up there. I think it's really hard to compare Haaland and Mbappe because they play for very different teams in very different leagues, in very different systems. If Mbappe was the other one in the Champions League final, maybe we'd be talking about them as a bit closer, but because he's not, it's hard to compare.
Yeah, obviously City as a season as a whole have been brilliant, but in terms of the Premier League...
a 24-game unbeaten run until that was ended by Brentford on the final day of the season.
Pinnock's massive.
Just complete inferiority. They're such a good side. I'd argue they are the best side we've seen in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Well, probably in world football ever.
I think they'll admit this. It wasn't plain sailing for the whole season. They did struggle at the start. Arsenal, as we've said before, they pulled that 8-point gap. It looked like the Gunners were going to go clear, but the tactic finally clicked with City's system. Arsenal got scared and started dropping points.
Got scared.
And they felt the pressure and they failed under it. And City managed to not only claw back the 8 points, but finish top of the league by a couple of points.
Well, it shrunk on the final day, didn't it?
But take that out of the equation because that was just they were drunk.
Take it out of the equation.
They were. Jack Grealish was still in the pub.
So 5 points between Arsenal and City in the end. So they 13-point swing for Manchester City.
And if they beat Brentford on the final day, that meant 8 points. It was 16.
And Brighton, of course, in the week they drew with as well. Yeah. So could have easily been a lot more.
So they won by 5 points, but they dropped points in both their last 2 games.
They dropped 5 points in the last 2 games. But yeah, so sensational for City. Of course, they play Manchester United this Saturday in the FA Cup final. We will be doing a podcast on that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
On Friday, but yeah, it's going to be... I think they are definitely the clear favourites. And then, of course, this week after, they have the Champions League final in Istanbul against Inter Milan. They are, again, clear
realistically,
favourites.
they're the favourites to do the treble.
They should do the treble.
They
really should do the treble.
I'm a firm believer in if you get to a final, you deserve to win it. But I think, especially on Inter,
I don't know.
I think no.
I think you can win it, but
if you do well
ultimately
enough
they've been handed one of the nicest Champions League draws in
If you do well enough
history.
to get there, then you're there, aren't you?
Yeah, I agree,
That is
and
the
I'd
problem,
love to see
though.
them win
They
it.
have been nice, and it doesn't. City should play at them off the park.
They should. I think City are much better, much better side than Inter Milan. They're much stronger.
That golf in quality is worrying, not only in the European but the domestic success as well.
I don't know though, because I think City have been the benefactors of everyone else crumbling. 89 points does not win you the Premier League in a normal season. I know they were given margin to relax because their nearest rivals didn't do anything, but a full-strength Chelsea team over the next couple of years. United, once Ten Hag implements his system fully, Klopp's Liverpool returning to the top, and Arteta's Arsenal maturing. That's 4 teams that can challenge City. Now, if City have never been fought on multiple fronts. They've always had them and Liverpool. This season, them and Arsenal. They've never been challenged by multiple teams at the same time. Whenever they've been in title race with Man United, it's been 40 points between them. But I just think maybe if there's more teams challenging, if City are trying to go for all 5, 6 competitions that they can enter, then maybe they get stretched.
That's the thing. I look at it and go, and this will bring us quite nicely onto Arsenal in a minute. But I look at it and go, if Klopp's Liverpool back to their best, they've proven over the years they can beat Pep's City, no matter how good they are. United, they beat City this year. I know they lost 6-3 earlier in the year.
Yeah.
But at Old Trafford, they went 1-0 down and they overturned it.
They're going to lose if they got final 6-0 now or something.
Arsenal can't do that. They proved this year. They were played off the park twice by City.
Well, their system's too similar to Manchester City, so it can't. It's basically just a worse version of City's system,
which is what
meaning they can't.
Not too
compete.
That is kind of what Arteta is. He's just a worse.
Well, he is, isn't it? He's not as good as Pep Guardiola. That's just the truth. He's not. You shouldn't be offended by that. He's a good young manager, but he's not Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, so I think United and Liverpool can really bring the fight to City. Maybe next season, who knows?
Maybe.
But I mean, City would have been miles off the league title if Arsenal hadn't bottled it.
Probably, but again, I don't.
They were 8 points clear. If all Arsenal have to do is win their games.
No, but I think if they lose that game to Liverpool, if they lose to City, then that becomes 2 points. That only affords one slip up. I could still have seen them both finishing up on like 90-something points and City win the league.
Well, at least Arsenal could have pushed them to the final.
They definitely could.
They won it with 3. They won it with 2 games to go, and the third last game they played their B side against Chelsea and still won.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I don't think Arsenal were ever serious. Oh, and obviously they were serious contenders. Sorry, but I don't think they were ever. I don't think they're title-winning material yet. But that's because they're a good young side, but they're not.
The thing with me
matured.
Is they dropped points with Liverpool. That's understandable.
Yeah.
If they drop points to City, that's understandable as well. But the thing is, if they drop points to a United or a Villa or a Brighton, that's fair enough. They drop points to Southampton and West Ham.
Yeah, fair enough.
Southampton got relegated with 5 games to go.
Southampton have been interesting. We'll get on to them last, of course.
Yeah, but we might as well move on to Arsenal while we're here.
I think we should start. I think we need to give Arsenal credit because the fact that they were a team playing in the Europa League this season, because they finished outside the top 4 last year, yet their work over the summer and Arteta's work behind the scenes over the last few seasons has led them to this point where they could challenge for the title. And they built a system initially that was running teams over. They looked fairly unbeatable for a large proportion of the start of the season. They were top of the league at Christmas. They were having a really, really strong campaign. And then it all started to fade away after the World Cup, I would say, would be the turning point.
What I was going to ask.
Would be the Volta of the Premier League story.
Who or what does it fall on to why they didn't win the league this year?
I would say a lack of ruthlessness, a lack of quality rotation options, and a slight deficiency in defence. I think there's an underlying issue with their defence and their stability of the defence, because we know they've been carved open too easily a few too many times, and Ramsdale is a little error prone.
As soon as Sleeve got injured, that was their title gone.
Yeah, Holding's not a good enough
But
rotation. Kiwior's not experienced enough.
For me, the way I look at it and go, the injury isn't the excuse. It's not an excuse. Arsenal got injured. There should have been better. There should have been someone to come in and replace.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with like middle midfield. So they're very lucky they didn't pick up a couple of injuries because Mohamed El Neni, who has been injured for most of the year, has played 100 minutes this season. 111 minutes this season. If he was fit, he probably would have played more.
Also,
I'm surprised they didn't make more use of players like Emil Smith-Rowe, Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson.
Criminal.
They're players that could definitely have had an impact on this title race.
Does it fall on Arteta as well? Because yes, they haven't got that much quality rotation, but equally they didn't use the rotation they did have.
Yeah, you make a good point.
Saka and Martinelli were brilliant this year, but they cannot play 40, 50 games a year and then expect to win the league.
Arteta found something that worked and didn't want to deviate from it and didn't rotate early enough. They definitely, like when they were playing early games against Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest, they definitely could have had a Nelson.
Smith-Rowe is good enough to beat any of the bottom half of the table.
Emil Smith-Rowe this season, I know he's had a lot of injury concerns, but he's played 163 minutes.
That's not good enough. That's just not enough.
I know he's been out injured, so I don't think we can criticise him too much for that. Fabio Vieira obviously signed for £30 million, has played he's a minute off 500, 499 minutes. It's fine for a debut 50 campaign, but...
Yeah.
Do you think this means that... So Vieira's obviously going nowhere, and I think he'll play more minutes as he gets older. But could you see Emil Smith-Rowe leaving the club? Because surely if you are Smith-Rowe, you're thinking, well, I'm not getting minutes
just over 150 minutes. That's not enough.
And Trossard and Martinelli are both ahead of you in the pecking order.
He's a very good player.
Surely you look at a side that is either fighting for Europe or has just scraped into Europe this season. Someone like an Aston Villa, someone like a Brighton, or maybe Brentford.
Obviously, Emery probably doesn't really want him because he'll probably go look at whatever players he does want. But you look at Villa and go with that 4-4-2 system. Jake Ramsey's been brilliant on the left at the moment, but maybe they want an out-and-out left midfielder.
Yeah, something like that could someone like Smith-Rowe could definitely work.
My other thing with the rotation is that they only used the rotation when the injuries came, but what made it worse is when those players came back from injury, they immediately slotted back in. So Trossard, he got a run of a few games when Jesus was injured.
He was injured and he played either Martinelli or Trossard through the middle.
He played Trossard through the middle, and as soon as Jesus was back, he came straight back in. But Trossard played well.
Well, they still rotated. Trossard has played minutes out on the left. Trossard's played through the middle a bit. He's been. I think was a very important signing for Arsenal.
I'm caught in two minds whether to say it's an over. I think they've had a brilliant season. Don't get me wrong. It's been a brilliant season, but
put it this way: if you had to say whether it's been a failure or not, I would say no because they've got Champions League football. They've fought for a title.
But I would, if I was an Arsenal fan, if I was an Arsenal player, I would be disappointed. Because they did throw it away.
Yeah, I guess.
I get they're young and I get that, but they did throw it away.
I think that they'll look back on this in a couple of years' time with, through rose-tinted spectacles, you'll be a lot more positive about how actually this was a good campaign. This was a good starting foundational block for the Arteta era.
If they don't win a league title in the next few years, it's going to be like, well, that was our one chance and we cocked it out.
Of course, but, it's impossible to say what's going to happen over the next few years. Ultimately, though, they have got the quality there with the right investment, the right recruitment. They can definitely win the title. This was my next point.
I do worry a bit for Arsenal because United will be stronger, Liverpool will be stronger, Newcastle will be stronger, Chelsea will be stronger.
Well, this will be our predictions video in about 8 weeks' time, so look out for that. But I could see Arsenal slipping out of Champions League spots.
Because for me, there's 5-6 teams that finish above them.
Potentially. It depends on the bounce back of Chelsea. It depends on whether Liverpool can bounce back. It depends whether Newcastle are competitive again. Because there's every chance they slip off next season, especially with more games, especially with Champions League football.
They've got the money.
They do, but that doesn't change the fact that a couple of injuries can hurt even the deepest squad. And if they're playing more football, potentially these sorts of players aren't used to that exposure to first team.
They got fourth this year with Jacob Murphy at left wing.
Yeah. Well, we'll get onto those in a moment. Shall we start, though? We'll go next to Manchester United, obviously, in third. It's been a really weird campaign for Man United, hasn't it? Dumped out of the Europa League by Sevilla in the quarter-final stage. That was poor. They really should have been in this final, I would say. I think they are by far the best team left in the competition at that stage. they just bottled. And I think a lot of that is to injuries. But again, as we said with Arsenal, that doesn't necessarily mean they've got unlucky. Instead, they have to buy better rotation.
Because, Luke Shaw at left centre-half
Was sensational this season. I think he deserves his plaudits for that because he was excellent.
He did a shift in there. That's not where you want to be playing Luke Shaw.
I don't know, though. I think he did fine. I don't think I wouldn't say he was the issue. I would say a certain Harry Maguire was probably more of a problem. I mean, he scored an own goal. He literally came on in that Sevilla game and he scored an own goal, and then that was 2-2, and then Sevilla went and beat them 3-0 in the second leg, which is inexcusable.
It's also question marks over players have had for the last few years. Question marks around the likes of Martial.
I was going to say, I think they lack a ruthless number 9. Marcus Rashford is more effective off the left, I would say.
Wout Weghorst was possibly... I don't know why. Why did they get him?
Yeah. And then,
and then he started playing attacking midfield.
He was just an option. He worked in there because he was able to get
he didn't have to
flick-ons and... exactly. So I don't think he was terrible in that role. But Weghorst won't be returning. I think Martial will likely leave the club this summer.
Look, just to say, because I know we mentioned the Europa League there. Obviously, we mentioned there in the FA Cup final. In terms of the league campaign, really strong.
Yeah.
Third.
Yeah, I mean...
new manager. And I was
going to say, they lost to Brentford on the opening day.
Lost to Brentford 4-0. Lost to Brighton on the opening day 2-0. They were struggling. They lost to City 6-3. What a turnaround.
Yeah, where's the start? I'm looking at the Arsenal start of the year somehow. But yeah, United, they've definitely done well to come back from their start of the season. They've had some low points this year, certainly. Yeah. I think, they've lost 7-0 to... They're still bad losses. They've lost 7-0 to Liverpool in there. They lost 6-3 to Manchester City.
That has got to be sorted out.
They've shown that there's this fallibility in the United system where they can easily be torn apart sometimes by sides that are high volume scoring teams.
Is that also, though, is it more... Because I remember that Liverpool game, is it also more mentality?
Yeah, I would say so.
Look at Bruno Fernandes... And I'm not here to hate on him. I'm just I don't like him, but I look at the way in the Liverpool game he was whining and moaning, and
it doesn't help when your captain's like that. I also think it shows just how much of a staple piece the Casemiro is. They don't have another option that can play his role, and when he struggles, he really is the pin in that United defence. And as soon as he's gone, as soon as he has a tough game, instantly the floodgates open. I think they've shown that. Casemiro really struggled in that game. He was at fault, possibly, I would say, for 2 of the goals against Liverpool. He made glaring errors, and then after that, his head dropped, other United players dropped, and Liverpool just ran through him. So
for me,
I think they have to invest.
They need another leader.
Yeah,
they need.
But players will step up into those.
They
roles.
will, but I don't. I think you look at the likes of other captains.
But for me, they've got a captain. They're just not given the armband yet. Lissandro Martinez. That man bleeds for the shirt. Have you seen him on the pitch? He's one of the most passionate players. He will be their future captain.
You look at other captains and you go, if their team are losing or it's not going against them, they'll get the team in a huddle or they'll encourage them. Bruno Fernandes is fanning around on the floor moaning.
Yeah, I do think Bruno is.
That's a problem.
I think he's a good player.
When they went 2-3-0 down to Liverpool, they looked for some inspiration, and he was too busy, shoving linos and moaning, getting in the ref's ear. And you look at that and you go, that's not inspiring.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they do need a
issues
captain
to iron out, but they've already taken a domestic trophy.
Yeah.
They're in another cup final.
I was going to say,
and they took third in the league.
We've spoken about how City are just too good, but is there a chance United can win the FA Cup? Can spoil the Man City party?
They beat City at Old Trafford this year. And I look at it and go, I mean, I know there's a bit of disparity here, but if United had got to the Europa League final, they'd also be on for a treble. I know it's not a Premier League and a Champions League and an FA Cup treble, but it's a treble nonetheless.
Yeah, mate. So we won 3 club pre-season friendlies. Yeah, we've done the treble.
I did see a United fan. They counted that cup that they pre-season cup they won against Liverpool.
What, we've done the double?
And they're saying we've already won 2 trophies this year. And it's literally just a massive sculpture. So it's not a trophy. And it was a pre-season tournament in Dubai.
Aren't all trophies just like massive sculptures?
No.
Or little sculptures of trophies?
I don't know, not sculptures.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, Manchester United, I think they've had a good season. I'd say this was a positive season for Manchester United, but return to Champions League football, that is crucial. They need to be more competitive though next season. They need to sort out this massive glaring error in their defence. They have to have better rotation options, because I think they really struggle when they have a few injuries, and then they have to buy a striker. It's the most important thing. Victor Osimhen, I was going to say Ivan Toney, that won't be a great choice. He can't play till January. But someone, Louis Openda, I don't know if you want to take a bit of a gamble, someone like that, just get in a striker that can score your goals, get a goal machine, and they can challenge Manchester City at some point one day, maybe. Yeah. When Pep leaves, basically. Because you're not beating a Pep Guardiola seed. But yeah, then fourth in the Premier League, Newcastle United.
What a season.
Indeed. I think it's a season that they will look back on as what could have been. Could they have won a Carabao Cup by this point? Could they have maybe got further in the FA Cup?
I feel that comes from an experience. They've never been there before.
And lack of rotation, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes has been so important, similar to actually Casemiro and United's system. When Guimaraes isn't fit, Newcastle might as well postpone the match, because they're going to lose pretty much all the time.
There's been a couple. They nailed the signings. Anthony Gordon was a weird one.
Well, that's every era has a weird signing to start. Look at Manchester City when they signed Robinho, who didn't even know who's signing for City, thought he was going to Chelsea. They've all got to start with a weird signing, and I think Anthony Gordon is Newcastle's weird signing.
But I guess if they've got that money to spend, they've got that money to spend.
He's such a distinctly average player. He's not bad. He's just so average.
And he's just got such an attitude. And I do you know what? If you are one of the best players in the Premier League and you've got an attitude like his, that's fair enough. Like, right. Jack Grealish can be a bit of a twat.
I don't know. I don't think Gordon's ever been a melt. I thought he was.
Did you not see him when he got subbed off against Brentford? Just refused to shake everyone's hand, threw a water bottle on the floor.
Fair enough.
If you're gonna have an attitude like that, you've got to be a very, very good player.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna be bang average and then throw a hissy fit when you get subbed off.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think Newcastle will be very happy with their season. They've got Champions League football for next campaign. I think that's crucial.
That's going to be interesting to see how they do. I really don't know where they're going to sit. Because Jacob Murphy rocking up to the Bernabeu is just not something I envisioned in my mind.
Yeah, when was the last time we saw a team get qualified for the Champions League for the first time and win it?
Have we ever seen it?
I don't think so.
They're not going to win the Champions League.
Why not?
They don't have the experience or the quality.
Well, can they not sign it? They've got Champions League football now to attract the best talent. They've got all the money in the world.
They have.
They've got Anthony Gordon.
Oh, God, no. If he went to Champions League, I wouldn't watch football ever again. I won't.
God, the stream when you're sat here watching Anthony Gordon pick up a Champions League title.
No, I'll leave. I won't watch football ever again.
Fantastic. Well, there's the ultimatum at Newcastle if you want to stop this man watching football.
Sell him now. Newcastle, brilliant season. They made it to a domestic cup final.
Yeah.
They've got Champions League football. They've just got to make sure they maintain that going into next year.
Yeah, there's definitely some worries that maybe it's not sustainable. We saw towards the end of the campaign that they started to slip off a little bit more, but ultimately they were excellent this year. And I think if they continue to develop the way they are, continue to invest and recruit intelligently, then they can definitely push on in the coming years, win some trophies, win some silverware, win their first trophy in 68 years, I believe it is now.
Wow.
It's been a while. But I think Newcastle, I think Newcastle fans deserve that, and it'd be very interesting to see Newcastle up at the top again.
Yeah.
Fifth place then, Liverpool. What a fall off this season. I think this is one that not a lot of people are talking about.
Okay, yeah.
But they have.
What a fall off.
Slipped from second to fifth.
But I think on the flip side, it's what a turnaround.
Oh, of course, yeah, they've managed.
Because they look like they're in similar problems to Chelsea. They're around the same area in the table. And obviously we saw how one team went up and one team went down.
Well, that's the difference, isn't it? Liverpool stuck with their trusted manager who knew the team, and he just changed the system a little bit to great.
I mean, they had 11 wins on the trot until they drew to Villa. And then drew to Southampton.
Great Liverpool team that couldn't beat Southampton.
But they've got still European football. Realistically, Klopp's Liverpool should absolutely waltz the Europa League.
Oh, 100%. If they don't win it next year, then they've decided to play Curtis Jones. So I don't.
I look at this year's final versus Sevilla versus Roma. which
They
is tonight.
They walk over both those
They
sides.
beat both. Yeah, they beat both sides.
I think the Europa League's going to be so exciting next year. We're going to have Liverpool and Brighton, obviously, from the Premier League. If you look at Serie A, we're going to get some good teams, because at the moment it's going to be Roma and Atalanta. Unless Roma win the Champions League, in which case the Europa League spot would go to Juventus.
Torino,
I believe. It might go to like one of the weird leagues, but there's a potential also with 1 game week to go that Juve win their game, Roma don't, and then Roma and Juve are into the Europa League. So we could be in for a bit of a stacked.
Rubbish.
Yeah, but I could still see them recovering next season. I think it's still
Liverpool
also strong in the La Liga as well, because they've got Villarreal and Real Betis. I mean, there's no Sevilla unless they win the Europa League and then get knocked down from the Champions League. But still, I think we're going to be in for a good Europa League next year.
Yeah. Liverpool this season, it didn't start great. They really struggled. And where did that fall? What was that fall on?
I think they struggled defensively early in the season. They've also got a very weak midfield. Liverpool's defence has always relied on Alisson making a lot of saves, Van Dijk never losing a duel,
that's the one
and
big
the fact
thing
they could just overwhelm teams, so they didn't need to worry about
Fabinho had a bad season, and that was their midfield completely gone. And yes, they got a few injuries, because we were looking at midfields of Elliott, Jones, and Henderson at one point. And
possibly the worst midfield three in the Premier League.
What do any of them
season?
do? I swear Jordan Henderson does nothing.
That's harsh on the other two. No, well, Henderson dictates tempo.
He's a leader, I get that, but he's just
a boring player.
We saw James Milner playing. Trent struggled first half of the season, didn't get that many assists, and just doesn't learn to defend.
And at the end of the season, he just dropped 12 in 3 games. And
it didn't start great, but as you said, the system tweaked. They rotated a few players back from injury. They hit a brilliant run of form, got themselves back into the European places, and to only finish 4 points off Newcastle.
Do you think Liverpool can make a serious run at the title next year? Do you think if they add...
They have to recruit midfielders.
Ideal midfield 3, let's say Mason Mount, Manuel Ugarte, and I was going to say Jude Bellingham, but that's not happening as ever. He's going around Madrid. Well, Ugarte can play. There's the defensive midfielders. You just need some. Well, Alexis McAllister.
That is quality.
Is that midfield 3?
That is possibly one of the best midfield 3s in the world.
Well, exactly. And you've got Thiago Alcantara to rotate into that. Fabinho to rotate into that. Does that transform Liverpool into a side that next season can make a serious go at the Champions League? Especially a serious go at the Champions League and the League. Oh, not the Champions League.
I think they might need a little bit more up front as well, because we saw Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota
get in. I don't think they do though.
Both of them got injured this season. They've lost Firmino. Who's their backup striker?
Or they play Nunes or Gakpo or Jota.
I forgot Nunes.
They've got 3 options through the middle. I think the only thing they need to add is a right winger. My ideal profile would be someone like Jeremy Doku from Rennes.
Because I think backup.
Well, exactly. He'd be happy to come in and play backup.
If Jota and Luis Diaz get injured. Or do you go Nunes, Gakpo?
Mate, well, if you get 3 injuries in one position, then you get...
That's what they had. That's what I'm saying. They got that this year.
Yeah, I know, but that's exactly that. It's just unfortunate. You can't have that many people in one position.
Chelsea can.
Yeah, maybe they follow the Chelsea model, which is really working out
7 in each position, just hope for the best.
If they get loads of under 21s, they don't need to register them, so maybe they should just do that. But there's apparently rumours Liverpool already looking to move on Fabio Carvalho, which I think's harsh.
I feel so sorry for that bloke.
I don't know why he left. He'd have cooked at Fulham this year.
Yeah.
On that left-hand side.
Europe.
No, they wouldn't. Right. William was also excellent.
Liverpool, terrible season, but a good recovery to get Europe.
Could you see Fulham buying him back? They could sell Manuel Solomon to Tottenham for 30 mil.
Solomon, I don't know what Tottenham see in him.
What do you mean? Have you not watched Solomon this year?
He's been alright.
He's a very good player.
I was surprised he didn't get William.
He's a great player, but it's weird to make a signing when you don't have a manager or technical director yet.
That's the Tottenham, mate.
Exactly.
Speaking of people now signings,
I was going to say, a team that's actually well run, Brighton, Hove, Albion.
Team of the season for me, apart from Man City.
I was going to say, you can't say that when Manchester City
apart from Man City, it's team of the season.
The way they lost their leader in Graham Potter, but recovered to be able to get European football.
They must have De Zerbi in the closet.
Roberto De Zerbi was employed by Shakhtar, no?
I don't know, to be honest.
I'm fairly sure it's at Shakhtar.
He came in.
He left Shakhtar in July 22. and then came in as a free agent in September. So he was just...
He literally... They must have told him, we think we're going to lose Graham Potter this year, so can you wait in the wings?
Just don't take another job. Or he's just waiting for another job and they
a mixture of experience, with youth, with loans, with brilliance, with tactical masterclass. It was superb.
They built that squad perfectly because they know that if they lose a player, they've got another one to replace. Same Alexis McAllister goes this year. Oh, dear.
Not eight.
I was going to say.
There's so many other
Say
options.
Caicedo moves on. Well, they're going to be looking at players like Andrew Moran, who's played a couple of minutes this season. They've brought in Burley Gilmore. We know Mahmoud Dahoud's coming, as is James Milner. They recruit so smartly. They're now starting to move away from young players and look at some more experienced heads to fight, to give them more in Europe, which I think is a very smart idea.
Yeah. I just love the contrast. You've got Adam Webster, big English geezer at the back, and then you've got some 20-year-old South American kids up front.
Some Paraguayan little...
It's brilliant.
Winger just
I don't know how the language barrier works there, but they get past
I think they all speak English, mate.
I guess probably.
I don't think there's much of a language barrier when half the team's English and the rest will probably learn English.
Because they're so young, they've probably been brought up learning,
Yeah.
But yeah,
because Brighton obviously built them in their little talent farm, so
they're not actually from South America.
They're lying. There's no way of called Alexis. It's Alexis McAllister.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's from Argentina.
They were just brilliant, and I think they can push on. I think they will get better. Europa League next year, where will they stack up? I don't know.
It depends on how well Liverpool perform. I definitely think, though, if Brighton want to win the Europa League, they've got the resource to be able to do that. It depends on whether they are fighting for more in the league than they bargained for. But
they've got brilliant fans at the Amex. It's just a brilliant...
I think there's a really good feel around the club.
And they're lovely people. Brighton's just such a great place.
I don't think there's any sad people in Brighton. I think everyone in Brighton's quite happy.
They're all just brilliant. On the seaside, go to the pier, get some chips, and then head to the Amex, which isn't actually on the coast, is it? It's further inland.
I don't know, mate. I don't know what's going on.
Bournemouth.
You have no clue.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
They've
had a brilliant season.
But yeah, they have been really good this season. I think they need a couple more players for next season. They're already starting to make some moves, which I think are good. I think João Pedro is a great addition, especially if they were to lose a striker. But that does now mean that Undav and Pedro, that's a really nice rotation. I think they'll probably let Danny Welbeck go this summer if they can find a potential suiter. He's had a good year though. He's played well when called upon. But yeah, I think they've been really good this year, Brighton, and deserves his plaudits. They are probably going to miss out on Levi Colwill. I don't think they'll get him back for another year.
They'll find something to replace him.
They could just buy him permanently because Chelsea are stupid. So offer him enough and Chelsea will do something dumb.
Yeah.
Clearly a very good talent. Up next, then, Brighton have had a great year. Another team that have had a great year and recovered from the depths is Aston Villa.
I said that Liverpool had a great turnaround. This has to be one of the best turnarounds we've seen.
I would just like to start by saying Gerrard deserves his plaudits.
Piss off.
Because
What did he do?
He took a really good side and completely destroyed them for half a year. It was just stunning how bad he was.
I can understand why Dean Smith struggled. Because Dean Smith, let's be honest...
He wasn't employed this year. What's going on?
But this is why they replaced him.
Right.
He's not very good to be where the Villa want to be. They bought in Steven Gerrard. Why?
Well, he had some experience of winning a Scottish
Go
League.
home. Rubbish.
Okay, thank you. But I don't want to watch Scottish League either. But I think... They wanted a good young manager. There wasn't much on the market at the time. I don't know. It was a weird appointment, don't get me wrong. Perslow, one of his failures. But he's been very successful.
Very rare.
I don't know. Is it rare?
Between Perslow and NSWE, they usually get it right.
What? It's the thing, right? They've made some great bits of business, but also some haven't worked out.
No,
Coutinho at 30 mil.
He did look good though when he first arrived.
He's been crap, mate. He's got 2 assists in
hasn't played.
So no, he did under
Emery.
Gerrard. He's got 1 goal and no assists in 780 minutes of football.
Yeah, Emery. Yeah, because Gerrard played him because they're mates.
But I don't know. Leon Bailey hasn't exactly worked out. Nivas Buendia. Tendonka's been alright. Boubacar Kamara's been injured most of the year. Same for Diego Carlos.
And that's what I'm saying.
Emmy went well.
That's 2 European quality players there that were injured for most of the season.
And I think Villa will recruit more European quality players. I think they would be smart to make use of free transfers, not Coutinho-esque. Like, don't go and get Di Maria or something, but because he's available on a free, and that would be the dumbest transfer that they could go for. There's definitely options out there though they can go and attract to the club. I mean, Rafael Guerreiro would be a fantastic.
I think the fact they've got Europe on the final day speaks volumes, because it even looks like after yesterday's celebrate. But we're recording this now after Sunday's game. It did look like Emi Martinez seemed happy to stay, which will be interesting.
He smiled at the end. He's staying.
No. He was like, he did a whole thing and he was banging on about.
Whole thing.
He did he had a talk. He did a talk. Like he was just screaming things at people and charming.
You do know that's not a talk.
Yeah, no.
We don't do that on a TED talk. Some bloke comes to the stage and just starts screaming.
But I guess they've got to tempt players like him to stay. Conference League was brilliant. Emery, we know he's got the minerals. We've seen what he did at Villarreal and all that. He's got the minerals to win the Conference League.
Oh, 100%. That competition is the weirdest competition in the world. As long as you avoid Fiorentina, you're fine.
Villa trounced Fiorentina or West Ham this season.
Well, it would be Juventus in the Conference League from the Serie A at the moment, which would be a bit of a banana skin.
That would be a good game, though, I think.
I don't know. It depends whether Juventus actually do something next year or whether they
have any money.
Well, exactly. I don't really know what's going on at Juventus. Yeah, if Juventus are still a football club come August, they could face Villa a problem next season. I'll be honest, I don't know who's in the Conference League from the other leagues. It's not. No one cares. It's Conference League.
But yeah, no. I think Villa, what a turnaround. Emery came in, changed the tactic, played this brilliant 4-4-2 system. It was a really strong season from Villa, and it looked like it was going to be relegation worthy.
I do just think they need to score more.
They do, and Ollie Watkins was great. He had a purple patch.
Yeah.
And then he kind of
fell. Well, how many did Watkins score this season?
Well, he scored on the last day of the season, though.
How many?
I can't remember.
16?
No.
13?
Maybe.
But Aston Villa have scored just 51 goals this season. Now, that's... even Leicester scored 51 this season. And Aston Villa have conceded 46.
So good defensively.
I know, obviously, a lot of those goals conceded, and the fact that
Ollie Watkins got 15.
Yeah, I wasn't far off them with my 16.
Same as Odegaard, same as Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. He had a really good run of form. I think Aston Villa, it's been 2 seasons, really.
But also, the problem is you have Watkins on 15, and then the next one is Jake Ramsey on 6, who has been brilliant towards the end of the season.
I think Villa need to add another forward if they're going to play 4-4-2 next season.
I mean, Emery said he wants an experienced striker to challenge Ollie Watkins.
Who would you see as a sort of perfect addition to this Villa side? I mean, that would be quite good, wouldn't it? That would be decent. Don't think it's going to happen, but shoot for the stars. If you fail, you fall from a cloud.
We'll end up Mariano.
Yeah, that's not a cloud, Harry. That's just hell.
That's your favourite stars.
What do you think of What do you think of Luka Jovic?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I think
he's done well for Fiorentina.
He was a one-season wonder.
What, Jovic? I think he shouldn't have gone to Real Madrid of all clubs.
He was brilliant. Was it Frankfurt?
Yeah. With Allaire, both of them.
Brilliant. And then he went to Real, and I don't know what happened to him. Was he shot? Was he kicked out?
He scored 6 goals and 16 starts in the Serie A this season.
That's not bad.
He scored. How many has he got in the Europa League? That's gonna be none, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gonna be really.
God, you got none.
But he's had an all right year.
Yeah. I think Villa will recruit well. They've got the money.
There's a Conference League they're in, right? 6 goals, 6 starts.
Fair enough.
12 games. He doesn't start a lot.
It does like Villa are interested in doing quite a bit of business. They're linked to a lot of players in the Spanish league.
Yeah.
Obviously. Emery.
Given Emery's connections, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I think they'll recruit well. Villa will be a drive, because this is 7th with the start of the season they had. If they can have a full campaign under Emery, who knows? Maybe a league title.
Right, that's the worst thing you've ever said. Now, from a team that's very well run and has had a very good season to a team that's not well run and has a terrible season, Tottenham Hotspur are the topic of our conversation now.
How did they only finish a point off European football? They were woeful. They were absolutely rubbish.
Kane scored 30 goals. That's how they did it. If you take Kane's goals out the side, they'd have scored 40, which is worse than Leeds, worse than Leicester, only 4 better than Southampton, only 6 better than Everton, 2 better than Forest, worse than West Ham.
If they would have done a striker who scored goals, Richarlison doesn't score 30 goals. He scored like 3 and they're all offside.
Obviously if they sell Kane, they'd probably go get a striker better than Richarlison. But I think Kane will leave this summer. Quite frankly, he's carried them to 8th.
They were awful. They were absolutely awful. They were abysmal. They were rubbish.
It's 63.
It's so many words to describe them.
63 goals conceded this year.
That defence.
Southampton only conceded 10 more.
So sorry, I look at the Newcastle game. What was it? It was Lloris, Davies, Longley, Dyer.
They tried to play a back 4.
And they brought in Pedro Porro.
They started Porro, Romero, Dyer, Perisic. They started a winger and a wing back as fullbacks. They started Dyer in a 2, and they had Lloris on the pitch.
Porro, towards the end of the season, has looked good at wing back.
Yeah, because he's a great wing back. You can't play him at fullback.
Christian Romero, how on earth he's won the World Cup, I do not know. He's the most car crash centre half ever.
Genuinely.
Eric Dyer is
card
rubbish.
We can't play in a 2, obviously, but yeah, he's not great.
Longley. Is he a footballer? How is he played for Barcelona at one point?
Yeah.
Lloris, flappy hands. He's won 2 World Cup. He's won 1.
No, I was just saying. What other one did he win?
I don't know why I thought he won 2.
Finalist in 2022, of course, but
yeah,
didn't win it.
Fraser Forster was a backup. Which
won a Euros.
Yeah.
Did they win? No, they lost the Euros to Portugal in the final.
But just Son was off the boil. Skip and Pape Sarr were playing in midfield too at one point.
Yeah, that's a weird.
4 different managers.
Weird system this year for Tottenham, but they did win 4-1 on the final day. So is that something?
3 different managers.
They played a 4-4-2 on the final day, taking the leaf out of Emery's book.
Yeah.
Porro as a right midfielder got a goal and assist. They did, and Leeds are crap. But if you ignore that for a moment, park that at the door. Tottenham had a good final day of the season.
3 different managers. Ryan Mason keeps ending up with the interim job. He's never going to get it. My worry
could you see him permanently next year? Because who is going there?
Who though?
Arnie Schlott turned him down to stay at Feyenoord.
Celtic turned him down.
Has preferred to be unemployed. Postecoglou staying in the Scottish League.
Over Tottenham.
Is anyone going to join at this point?
I think there will be Ryan Mason. They haven't got a sporting director. They haven't got any good footballers apart from Harry Kane.
No, their sporting director's been done for financial doping. Evidently not with Tottenham because they've done nothing.
Levy still doesn't want to spend any money and doesn't want to sell Kane. They're in big trouble.
They are.
Not just to get alarm bells ringing. If they lose Harry Kane and they don't bring in another world-class striker to replace him.
But what world-class striker is going to come to a team with no Europe?
Exactly.
They've got to go and get a youngster who they've got to then hope does something.
Could they be outside the top 10 next year like Chelsea have been this year?
Oh, potentially, yeah. It depends.
Could they go down?
They might not have a manager at this point. I would not put it past Tottenham.
They haven't got a manager and they lose Kane.
If they lose Kane, there's a good chance that they struggle to stay up next year.
They'll beat City at home. But apart from that...
they'll pick up 3 points.
It's a big worry for Tottenham. I don't know what to suggest to do better next year.
Yeah, well, we're going to do more in-depth dives into every side this summer, so look out for those podcasts. Did the same thing last year. If you want to go back,
we might be for 5 hours.
Genuinely, we thought today would be the longest episode we've ever done. All up there with the Christmas specials. That will be much longer.
A Tottenham rebuild. There's so much.
You can. You've got to sell everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing to work with.
Lloris gone. Forster gone. Perisic gone.
I don't know where they start next season. You've just got to basically tear it all up. And Tottenham need an identity. Because they had one under Poch, which worked for a few years. Then they started to tail off. They haven't had an identity since. They've sort of played a 3-back at times. It's weird. Yeah, Poch has gone to their rivals, Chelsea, now, which is just...
And probably going to win loads of trophies.
Who are in a much worse position, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Tottenham have no pull at all. And no one wants to work with Daniel Levy because they've literally heard Jose Mourinho in the press say the other day, Mr. Levy basically is a massive wanker. That might as well have been what he said.
He said he doesn't care the club. Conte did everything in his power to get sacked.
Mate, bloke faked having a problem and an illness just to not turn up.
Stellini tried his best.
Because, Conte was off for a bit, right? He had surgery in Italy. Came back for a game and then just stopped turning up. I don't know.
And then when he came back, his team drew 3-3 Southampton and he was just like, we're rubbish. I can't do this anymore.
This is the worst of a match, but God. Mental season so far for Tottenham. Well, not so far. It's done now.
So.
It's been mental. It's going to be interesting to see where they end up next year. On the opposite spectrum then, Tottenham, one end failing. Brentford at the other, doing quite well.
It's a question of what if for Brentford. If Ivan Toney hasn't been banned...
Or so he could play the final 3 games, maybe they'd have got...
No, he didn't play the final few, did he?
That's because he's injured, not because he was banned.
Oh, yeah.
He only missed the final 2 or 3, I think.
I think it's maybe... This season was good.
And they won against City without him.
But I have a big question mark over next year.
I think
lost a 20-goal season striker.
Kevin Schade has not replaced him.
Kevin Schade has been absolutely rubbish this season when he stepped in.
Yeah, or as Harry was calling on Sunday, shade.
And Buemo's good, but he cannot replace Tony's goals.
Yeah. They definitely need to buy a striker.
David Raya could leave.
Could they? Yeah, I was going to say, they've got to hold on to him.
There's a worry for Brentford next year.
I don't think they lose anyone else, though. I don't think Frank Onyeka...
I'm not saying they need to worry about going down. I just don't think they'll be top 10.
I don't know. I think they could.
Oh, Tottenham could fall away, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, so if Tottenham are relegated, that leaves
Chelsea
only 2
come
spots.
Yeah.
Sheffield United are guaranteed to break the Derby points record, so that leaves 1.
Luton could be a bit...
Oh, piss off, mate. Luton are going to be absolutely fine.
No, they're not.
If Everton aren't down there again, Forest, Bournemouth, Luton will be absolutely dandy, mate.
I think Forest and Brentford could switch, but we'll
I could see Fulham falling off. Speaking of which, quick move on, but Brentford, I don't know, they've had a good campaign, it's nothing...
The fact they're only like a couple points off...
I say it's nothing special, but it's just because...
4 points off conference.
We're used to it. What do you mean 4 points off conference?
3 points.
2 points.
2 points off conference.
Off the Conference League.
That's huge. Good season.
3 points off Europa League. Of Brighton.
Brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant.
When we speak about Brighton as one of the best teams of the season,
Yeah.
we don't speak about Brentford in that manner, but it's because we've sort of become used to them just being good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think next year, I don't know if they're going to push
I think
forwards
Brentford
or
have been
backwards,
mid-table since they've joined the Premier League. But
They've got to maintain that next year.
I think they could move backwards, but we'll find out. Another team I think will move backwards. I think Fulham could do the same thing.
Yeah, Fulham have rode their luck this season. If you look at expected performance this season, they've really they've really overperformed. Sorry,
they have. They rely on Mitrovic a lot. It didn't help. He got banned for 12 games for pushing a referee.
That's never helpful, is it? But so expected performance, if we sort by that, it has Fulham as 16th in the Premier League. They have overperformed their expected points by 12.7.
And my worry is if Mitrovic is injured or he decides to push a ref again.
It's the biggest overperformance in the league, by the way.
Yeah.
Fulham this season.
I do worry for Fulham because Willian's good. Willian is good. They could lose Solomon.
Yeah.
They could lose a couple more players. Without Mitro, they're not a football club. They've proven that. He got sent off for being a bit of an idiot. And
It's just what Mitro does, isn't it? It's just what Mitro does.
yeah,
But
it's worrying for Fulham and Brentford next year.
I think Leno's got them out of quite a few sticky situations. I think they've definitely got to improve on personnel next year.
Yeah.
Because, if you look at their goals this season, Mitrovic got 14, then it's Vinicius and Willian on 5.
Yeah, Andres Pereira had a good year.
Pereira did well, to be fair.
Jalpini's got to stop kicking people.
Palhinha's been magnificent.
He has, but 14 yellow cards.
That's the role they need him to play, though.
But sorry, they got
They
3
need
red
him to go
cards in
around
one
kicking
game, plus 14 yellows there. They must have had a lot of fines.
They're just vibing, mate.
All their money's gone to the FA.
Yeah. They can't afford any transfers.
Martin Silva got banned a few times this year. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. With Tottenham, Stellini spent all his rage just trying to fight people.
Mate, genuinely, so much has happened at Tottenham, it's impossible to cover all of it. But Marcus Silva, I think he's a really good coach. I think if you give him some talent to work with... I mean, look at this season. They've not got the most talented squad, but he's used their best players. He's got everything out of their best players. Palhinha's had a fantastic year. Mitrovic has scored 14 goals and been suspended for 8 matches at least. He's probably been suspended at some other point for yellow cards. It's just ridiculous.
I take my hat off to him because I didn't think he was very good at Hull or Everton.
Oh, right. I thought you meant Mitchell. I was like, well,
no,
we play for
Silva.
Hull. I missed that bit in Mitchell's career.
I didn't think he was very good at Hull or Everton. And he's gone to Fulham.
I thought he was magnificent at Hull. No, he wasn't at Hull.
He was at Hull, wasn't he?
Watford, no?
No, Hull.
Let's have a look. He was at both. He was at Hull.
Well, any Watford manager looks rubbish.
He was at Hull for half a year, and then Watford went and got him for half a year.
And then he got sacked.
Yeah, he did get sacked.
He went to Everton.
Well, Watford had started so strong in that 2017 campaign, 2017-18 campaign, don't know if any people remember that, but they started really strong. Then rumours started to emerge that Everton wanted him and stuff, and he lost his head, and then they started to slip away. He was then sacked in January and moved to Everton in May, where he was fine, and he lasted a year and a half, which for an Everton manager in recent times is pretty decent. But he's always been a really good coach. We saw that in his days at Sporting, and I think now at Fulham he can start to really build something.
We'll see how they go. Whether we top 10 next
year.
I think
Leno's had a really good year. I think the defence is possibly one of the worst in the Premier League. Yeah. I don't think having defence... Tim Ream's good, but Shane Duffy, Tosin Adarabioyo, it's a deal. I don't know, man. They need to improve. Their midfield is poor. They've got Andreas Pereira, they've got João Palhinha, and they've got vibes. And then forwards, as soon as Solomon, Willian, and Mitrovic are injured, you're looking at Dan James and Neeskens Cabano. So they definitely need to bolster their squad next year. But if they can make use of frees, maybe they can pick up a loan or two. They can definitely, optimise their performance, maximise their performance, and potentially get, I don't know, that Conference League spot, or just for them getting around the same sort of position. They finished 10th this year. I think they'd take dropping down to 12th. That's still a really good year for Fulham. Just maintain themselves in the Premier League another year and then build from there. Crystal Palace in P11.
This has been a weird season. It got tough.
Mate, they conceded more than they've scored, and they've still finished above Chelsea.
Vieira got going, and they sort of shoved him out the door.
He got gone.
Yeah, he got gone. They brought in Roy Hodgson.
They did
I think this was them worried about getting relegated. And Roy Hodgson, not only has he kept them up, but he's kept them up by a long shot. They've played some really nice football.
They have. I just think, obviously, if he sticks around next season, that's mental.
He's already said he isn't.
Yeah, well, I remember seeing that he said that, and then Palace were trying to convince him to stay.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he needs to. Just let him rest. He's done it. He's finished. Yeah, come on the pod.
Call it a day, Roy. Come talk to us instead.
Yeah, but Crystal Palace, I think it's going to be interesting to see the direction they take next year, because this season they have had ups and downs. I think if they'd stuck with Vieira and had Vieira now going into next season, I would be a lot more confident about their long-term future. I would say if they butcher this managerial appointment, if they were to lose either Elise or Eze, maybe Zaha as well.
Similar to Brentford and Fulham, they could see themselves slipping backwards a little bit.
Yeah, especially if sides below them are more ambitious, have already got managers in place, ready to go for next season. And I just think they could butcher this appointment.
I even look at Vincent, compare them to Burnley.
Yeah.
And I think just Burnley look better long term.
Well, definitely long term, but Burnley don't have much talent right now for the here and now in the Premier League. But if they can add a couple more players, they could definitely do some stuff next year.
Palace, good year.
But they have to. I do have my concerns going into next season.
It's these three teams that finish mid-table: Brentford, Fulham, Palace. I worry
Thoughts on their new shirt?
Season.
Thoughts on the new shirt though?
I haven't seen it.
It's looks like FC
Richmond.
Richmond.
Yeah. No, it's alright.
I rate it. A lot of people don't like it, but I don't mind it.
They put two different football shirts sewn together.
A massive downgrade, but I would say Yeah. Palace.
Downgrading kit could be a downgrade in form and position. I don't think they'll get relegated. I don't think.
Why not?
Oh, that's a good shot.
Is Elise and Eze good enough? Or could they lose them?
I think Everton have proven this year that and Forest...
Everton will just keep crossing the Tarkovsky and...
They've proven that a couple of players can be the difference.
I think this year's been very fortunate for clubs like Forest, Bournemouth, West Ham, because in a normal year, 38, 39, 40 points, you're very much a lot closer to relegation than 14th, 15th and 16th. So about Leeds, Leicester, just all poor.
Palace, I worry for. They've got to be careful next year. They've got to bring in the right manager.
Indeed, and I think they've got a history of terrible appointment. Frank de Boer, bloody hell, that was poor, wasn't it? But that's the problem. I could see them going for someone
Alan
completely. Pardew. They won't go Alan Pardew. They're not completely stupid, but I could see them going is it Alfred Schroeder, the guy that got sacked by Ajax?
Can't remember.
It's just terrible at his job. Managed to lose the league with Ajax. That's that's a challenge in itself, just to lose it with them. No,
Scott Parker.
They're not going to get Scott Parker. If they pick up Graham Potter, that is fantastic.
Where do you think Hasenhüttl will go?
Germany.
Probably. I think it's time the Premier League's done.
Probably. What's Tedesco up to? Is that a potential pickup for Palace?
I don't really know. What he's doing right now, he's probably asleep.
What, right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll ask you. Domenico Tedesco. Oh, he's Belgian manager, isn't he? Forgot about
Oh, he
that.
got sacked by Leipzig.
Forgot that happened. Oh, I knew. Yeah, obviously, but he's Belgian manager.
Oh, right.
I forgot.
That's pretty cool, that. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What's Martinez up to then? Roberto. Oh, he's Portugal, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the old Portugal manager? Going on a hunt now.
I don't remember.
I can't remember his name.
Palace,
Santos.
they've got to be careful.
Oh, here he is, Fernando Santos.
What a guess.
He's the Polish manager.
Who's the ex-Poland manager? Who cares?
I'm never going to find out, am I? Right.
Moving on to a team that... Because we were speaking about 3 teams we think could go backwards next year.
I don't want to see this. We're just going to jump to 13.
Let's first start. Abhorrent season for Chelsea.
Just shit. We scored 38 goals. Haaland scored 36.
Nowhere near enough. Defensively weren't horrific, but still not great.
Defensively, one of the best teams in the league.
With 12, you can't say that.
47 goals conceded. If we didn't shit 4 at United in the penultimate game, then we would have been up there with Arsenal conceded 43 this season, United 43. It's just that City only conceded 33 and Newcastle only conceded 33. We conceded the same amount as Liverpool, only one more than Aston Villa, 6 less than Brighton, so many less than Tottenham did. Defensively we're good. We have to score goals. We need a striker. We need a creative midfielder. We need a defensive midfielder.
Put the brakes on buying anyone before... Sell.
Mate,
Car
we
boot
have
sale.
45 first
Get them
team
gone.
players.
Half
45.
Don't half it. Get rid of 15. 10, 15.
When we do our how to build Chelsea for next season,
Sell.
everyone
They've got to go.
loses their head.
Ziyech, Pulisic.
Yeah.
Maybe Havertz.
Yeah.
Lukaku. He is number 1 priority. Sell him for buy one, get one free. Let's do that.
Well,
if you buy Lukaku,
the thing
you get
is,
Ziyech.
the thing with Lukaku is he counts as homegrown at club.
I don't care what he counts at. He could count... he might give us 5 extra points. I don't want him.
Mate, 5 extra points is a lot. Like,
just to sit in the reserves, yeah, he can stay. But no, have to sell. Pochettino coming in, we know he's good. We know he's a good manager of Tottenham. Look how close he came to a Champions League. He came second in the Premier League and a Champions League final with Tottenham.
He didn't come second, did he?
Yeah, to Leicester.
No, they came third, mate. They bottled it to Arsenal on the final day.
Yeah, that's right. Because they lost the Battle of the Bridge to Chelsea.
I'll
be honest.
That, yeah.
I Poch could rock up to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next year and absolutely butter Tottenham.
Yeah, especially if they've got Ryan Mason.
I think Chelsea could have one of the best. They've got in Joe Shields. They've got in the right back people in the back room. They've got in Pochettino. If bring in the right people, Chelsea could be very good. I don't think they'll win the league title.
No, I don't know though.
No, I don't think they will.
The only reason, don't get me wrong, I know I sound delusional for people watching at home, so don't, just speaking purely theoretically, but if we had Manuel Ugarte and we had a striker, I don't know what stops us from winning, other than Man City.
Do we have the mentality though? From last year, we're going to need a shift in confidence. We're going to need a shift. We're going to have to hit the ground.
That should happen with Poch.
It should.
He's going to have 3 months before the season now to get his style implemented.
If I had an estimation
to
for
motivate
Chelsea,
the players,
it would. I would say. I mean, it sounds a bit delusional, but
I think we'll be top 4.
Has to be top 4.
I think obviously I want to see a striker and DM, but if we had Ugarte and a striker, why can't we challenge them?
I wouldn't be too fair. I wouldn't be too disappointed with. So saying if next year was a rebuild year, we got Europa League, maybe you take a domestic cup as well. Then the year after that, you win the Europa League, get Champions League football, maybe take, again, another domestic cup with you. I feel like Chelsea need a trophy next year. Make a statement. Win something next year.
And that Poch can win trophies. Because he failed at PSG. We've not seen him in Soccer Age yet, so he may win that and then show that actually he's in business. So that will be a big... if he can get... I
genuinely think he's managed the 2 hardest clubs to manage in the world.
What, Tottenham and PSG?
PSG, you've got so many different egos there. It's hard to watch. Tottenham are just complete shit. So
I'd probably put the Qatari national team up there.
You'd probably get
but that was exactly my point. Yeah, your life's on the line. But other than that,
if he can get to a Champions League final with Tottenham, Poch can win something with Chelsea.
Yes. Wolves.
What a weird. Just
They're so bad. How are they 13th?
they're not.
No, they are. They're so
They're just
crap.
meh. They're so meh.
They lost 5-0 on the last day to Arsenal.
And they lost 6-0 to Brighton's B side. But then they just pick up points that they need to.
Sar's a good enough goalkeeper to get them by.
They brought in Lopetegui. They sacked.
Dawson is their defence. The rest of them are.
I think people forget they sacked Lager at the start of the season and brought in Lopetegui.
Yeah, that's it. The fact they've got Lopetegui and still have done nothing.
He's won Europa Leagues.
Like, Matthias Nunes is a baller, João Gomez is a baller, Neves is class.
Got to be careful. And this is, again, similar to Palace and Fulham. If they lose a couple of players, they could be in a bit of danger.
They've also got to sign a striker. Jimenez is leaving on a free. Costa is... I love the bloke, but he's not good enough. Neither's Hwang, no. Pedro Neto, everyone put him in their FPL teams week 1 because he was like 4.5 mil. He notched up just 2 assists.
Does he keep getting
this
injured,
campaign? Yeah, Sasa Kalajdzic, I thought he might be better than he was. He's played 1 game.
Right.
He played 45 minutes against Southampton on the 3rd of September. He has been out all year.
Okay, I won't
with an ACL injury since September. So it's kind of sort of hard to judge. Matthias Cunha has been distinctly average. He started just 2 games, notched up 2 assists, 370 minutes.
Such a mess football club.
Yeah.
There's nothing interesting about Wolves.
Not really, no. They just sign Portuguese
I
people.
think going into next season they're giving away. In terms of this season, mid-table.
How on earth, though, did they finish 13th? Like,
13th.
they are another benefactor of the fact that everyone was so crap in the bottom
I think
8.
teams like this got to be careful because the teams we're about to talk about will come back next season swinging.
14th in the Premier League, West Ham United.
This is a team that have got big things to do next year.
If they win the Conference League.
They were off the boil, but they're in the Conference League final. If they win that, they're in the Europa League. They have to bounce back in the league. They are good enough for European football.
We're going to have 8 teams in Europe next season if West Ham win that.
The worry is for West Ham is Declan Rice.
Why?
If they lose him, they have to replace him with someone of equal amount of quality.
Yeah, obviously. I think he is so good at what he does. He dictates tempo. Yeah. He carries the ball really well. He's a great tackler, a great interceptor. He's just your perfect DM, and you don't replace him. You sell him for 100 mil, you cannot replace him as West Ham because you're not going to get Manuel Ugarte, but you can get a good DM though, and I think that's crucial. West Ham, they need to take whatever they can get for Rice this summer. I think you've got to get rid of him now. Unfortunately for the Hammers, you've got to get rid of him. And then you just use that money, you rebuild your side. I think there's a lot that needs to be done at West Ham this summer, but if they get the right recruitment, if they sign the right players, if Moyes identifies the right sort of profiles and targets, they can definitely do well.
People have to step up. Bowen was good, but I've seen better from him. Skamaka did nothing this year.
Weird season.
Antonio wasn't too great. Defensively, they weren't. Tilo Kehrer was horrific.
Nev Aguilar's pretty good.
Curtis Zoom's got to stop kicking cats. It's they just got Danny Ings.
Mate, that was this season.
I know.
Ridiculous.
To be fair, Schmack's been injured. Danny Ings is a great pickup.
20 mil though for a 30-year-old who scored 15 goals in 54 appearances for Aston Villa.
Yeah, then you look at his Southampton career, 38
and 75.
Not too bad.
He averages a goal every other game for Southampton and a goal every 4 matches for Aston Villa.
I was going to say. Yeah. And then 3 goals in 22 games for West Ham. Yeah, maybe he's not a great
1,500 minutes, 8 goals this season. I think
Villa on the better side of that.
Obviously, that's from two different. It was 20 mil, wasn't it, the signing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a good player, and was helpful in the fight for just 5. But ultimately, striker is a position they've struggled. Antonio was never a striker. He was just had a good run of form at the start of last year.
This is the huge thing. I think this is why this has cost them in the league. Is when they've been fighting in Europe and domestically, they do not have the squad depth or the quality rotation for that. And if they're in the Europa League next season, they've got to buy rotation.
But they've got unlucky as well.
They're what? Is that 5 listed midfielders?
That's 5, yeah. And I don't see Rice staying. I don't think Souček. He's done better recently, but he had a tough start.
I don't rate that highly.
I think he's good. I think he's a fine player. How old? 21? 24? Okay, well, I thought he was younger than he was. But Yeah, Lucas Paqueta they've got unlucky with because he's clearly incredibly talented and he's just not performed. And then Lanzini is dependable, but he's not a central midfielder, so...
So that's all 5 of the midfielders that are the problem.
They've got 2 midfielders and Downs as a backup. That is their midfield. Paqueta is more advanced.
How they've got away with this, I don't know. They're lucky they've stayed up. But they picked up points they need to. At the end of the season, they turned up. They got a point at Arsenal. They beat the teams they needed to beat.
Yeah, well, we talked about this on the final day, because, like, Declan Rice should not have been starting that game.
No.
Because you need to be rushing up for the Conference League. Who do they play there? Connor Coventry, where is he? Where's he for
He's
that?
out on loan.
There you go. You can't play Connor Coventry.
League One?
Probably. I don't know. I
Well,
think
they sold him. I know.
I was gonna say
they got lucky this year. I think they'll be better next year, though. If they recruit well.
I don't know. I really don't know, because everything from their recruitment so far suggests they just buy flashy players.
Yeah.
They just buy based off goal scoring chance. I mean, Skamaka is was a good signing at the time. He had a good season with Sassuolo last year. He's not performed at all. They need to be focusing on proven Prem players, and they need to build a good side, or they're going to struggle next year. With less crap in the league, they're probably going to drop down. 15th, Bournemouth. Gary O'Neill deserves... No, don't take your... He doesn't have to take his hat off. We take our hats off to him, because he deserves so many plaudits. He's not been given any of his flowers for what he deserves from this season.
Parker is quite, honestly, one of the worst managers we've seen in the Premier League in a long time.
Well, it's hard, though, when you've got the worst Premier League team, possibly in history. Probably only Derby worse.
But Gary O'Neill...
Somehow, they've done all right.
But this is what I was saying earlier, how a couple of players... Dom Solanke, Philip Billing... And
so Philip Billing's a quality player.
Neto in goal.
Neto was a good pickup in January, and Solanke is fine.
Marcus Tavernier did a shift.
Yeah.
At times. They had a few players that
Dango
did enough.
as well, cooked towards the end of the year as well. 6 goals, 5 assists in 18 appearances.
And that's the thing with Bournemouth, and that's what going over. They might be the best squad, but their mentality is perfect. They picked up wins where they needed to.
He's fully started every single game since he joined the club, by the way. Big up Dango Atara, but he's been excellent for them. But pickups like that are so good.
Yeah.
And I think if they can build on that, there's a chance to start next year. It's going to be difficult because they're another benefactor. We keep saying this, but they're another benefactor of the fact that Leeds, Leicester, Southampton, Everton all having terrible seasons.
And I look at the 3 teams coming up, I think Burnley could be clear of it. Sheffield United... If they
win a game,
that'll
be mental.
If they don't finish... I know someone else said this, but if they don't... Because Pittle wrote Bournemouth off, didn't they? They released that video saying, oh, look at all this.
I saw the Bournemouth one where everyone predicted them last and then they finished 15th.
But honestly, if Sheffield United don't finish 20th, I will buy a Sheffield United shirt.
Final day of the season straight?
Yeah.
Well, scenes then, if Sheffield United...
Then 19th going on the final day...
Fair enough. All right. But yeah, Bournemouth, what a season. I don't know if they'll improve for next year. I think there's got to be work done this summer. But if their recruitment's as good as it's been throughout this year, they could definitely do stuff.
And I look at teams like Palace, Wolves, who are probably get worse.
They've got to replace Jefferson Lerma, though. Because that's a big part of their team they're losing for absolutely nothing.
Massive, massive loss.
The fact they didn't see that last summer and sell him is mental to me.
Or give him a new contract.
Well, I'm guessing he didn't want to sign one. Would be my prediction there.
I think he could make the downgrade though.
What, from Bournemouth to Palace?
Yeah, but I think Palace could be down there next year. In the dogfight.
Palace have more talent and they're more likely to get a good manager.
Alright.
If they get a terrible manager, obviously they'll struggle.
In terms of reviewing this season, Bournemouth have been good.
Indeed. Nottingham Forest are another team that have done well. 16th in the league. Again, I think they've done well and they deserve their applause for staying up. But again, they are helped out by the fact that everyone else is crap.
Bournemouth, they've got a couple good players and they've picked up points. They've got the right mentality. They've picked up points they need to.
They've got to score some more goals. They've got to stop shipping goals.
But at home, they are brilliant. That home atmosphere at the City Ground is it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, you know that Nottingham Forest, by the way, have scored 10 less goals than Leeds. Conceded 10 less, so that's helped them. But ultimately, they have to score more goals next season. They've got to get... Okay. I mean, if Awaniyi carries this late season form into next year, he'll challenge hard.
He's shown he is he's shown he is a capable enough striker.
I think they've genuinely... We spoke about other teams need to improve next year. Do not make a signing. Maybe one, but
they're good enough.
You can't make another full-scale change.
And this is why I worry for the teams that we've already talked about, because they're
goalkeeper. They do have to sign. They've got no goalkeepers
unless they get Keylor Navas back.
Well, he's been on loan this season, hasn't he? But
because he was quality. Absolute quality.
If you can get him back, but you've definitely got to get a backup because Wayne Hennessey's not a great backup. Or Henderson on a permanent.
Wayne Hennessey came on that. Can't wish for it.
Either Navas or Henderson as a.
But yeah,
permanent is a good bit of business.
They were. I think next season they can really push on. Renan Lodi.
They've got the biggest squad in the world, by the way. Like,
no, it's Chelsea.
It just doesn't stop. I mean, because Chelsea, obviously, their lone army isn't on football, but this is just such a big
Awani's good.
team.
Maybe a backup. Chris Wood, to be fair, as a backup, isn't too horrific.
Yeah.
But
Dennis as well, they'll probably sell, won't they?
But you've got Scarpa, you've got Gibbs White, you've got so many players that can cook.
Remo Freuler's even. I mean, how the hell?
Get rid of Jack Colback. Get rid of Jesse Lingard.
Yates has been mint. Danilo's been quality. They did some great business last summer.
Don't know why John Joe Shelby's there.
But he's a good.
So Andre, are you?
He's played 11 games. That is Andre. I didn't even know he was there.
When did he get there?
He's played 30. He's 13 starts. One start, 13 games, 307 minutes. Have not seen that bloke this year. I'm convinced that's lying to me because he's not been there. He joined in February.
How sad.
He joined in February, mate. That's what it didn't happen during the window.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that's not allowed.
Well, if he was released, wow.
But then like Neco Williams at the back. They do need to improve defensively.
Who is Gwillian Biancone?
I found him Football Manager when I managed Forest.
Came from Troy.
The smallest, get the squad a little bit smaller. Upgrade defensively near the top.
Stop employing Andre Ayew
and Jesse Lingard and Jack Colback, John Joe Shelby.
Shelby's fine. Don't disrespect John Joe Shelby.
Mid-table next year.
I think they should be in.
Steve Cooper's a capable manager
because if they hold on to Gibbs White, Awaniyi, Brennan Johnson,
I mentioned Brennan Johnson. I think they're good enough to stay up next year.
Yeah, what's Johnson done this season? 8 goals, 3 assists, debut Prem season.
Not
That's
bad.
Decent. That's very
Gibbs White's
decent.
a good year, isn't he?
He's also played every single match.
Fair enough.
So yeah,
he's now
38 matches, 33 of them starts.
Brilliant.
So, yeah. Well done, Johnson. But yeah, a good season for Forest. I think they can build on that next year. Cooper's a good manager. There's a good feel around the club. I just don't know about next season. They've got to continue this upwards trajectory. They've got to score more points and they've got to score more goals.
I think at home, if they can take points from 50% of their home games, they'll be fine.
Yeah, fair enough. 17th then, Everton. How could they keep doing this? How could they keep surviving by the skin of their teeth? Genuinely though, they're like the most fortunate club in the world. Last season they were 4 points ahead of the relegation zone in the final day. This season they survived thanks to
crap.
Well, yeah, thanks to a late goal. It took a late goal for them. Well, not late, not too.
They're in the relegation zone for 60% of the game, on the final.
Yeah, well, 57 minutes, and then they could relax after that. But ultimately, they weren't good enough this season. Sean Dyche has said they need to be better next year. They've got to sign a striker because Calvert-Lewin plays 5 matches a season. Neil Maupay hasn't got the ability to finish. Ellis Sims is not very good. You've got to buy a striker. How you can sell Richarlison after getting relegated, always getting relegated, not replace him is mental.
You look for the team. Pickford's adequate. He'll be fine. Yeah. Defensively, they're solid. Michaelenko, Tarkowski,
Keane, Patson when he's fit.
Who's the other centre half? It's not Tarkowski. It's Tarkowski and
Mina, Keane.
There's another one.
Cody.
He's on loan, isn't he?
Yeah, presumably he'll stay there. I don't think
right back, you've got Patterson. You've got the other one.
Coleman, but his legs in 3 pieces.
No, who's the other one? Other than Patterson, there's another one.
Let's have a look. Holgate?
No.
It's none of these people. Kane. It's not Ruben Bernard.
Patterson is a starter then.
Yeah.
They've got Godfrey as well, back from injury.
He's a quality little right back though.
Defensively they're solid, they have to score more goals.
They've got to sign a striker. Yeah. McNeil's good, but what's he crossing to?
Yeah, they need legs in midfield.
Damari Gray's fine.
Midfield, Decore was quality this year.
Yeah, I've heard Decore's
Iwobi,
build around.
I have question marks over. He had a purple patch and they did nothing all season.
Yeah.
Idrissa Gay, I don't really know what he does.
He's a good midfielder.
Better.
Amadou Onana's magnificent.
Onana, yeah.
But you've got to work hard to hold on to him because I think there'll be
Tom
suitors.
Shivers?
What?
Tom Davies.
Tom Shivers?
I couldn't really beat it for me.
Tom Shivers. Mate, yeah, Tom Shivers, mate.
Tom Davies. That bloke is
what's
rubbish.
that guy?
He is not a footballer.
Davies?
Yeah.
179 appearances. Let him get to 200.
How?
Let him get to 200.
How? No wonder they get relegated every year.
He's been there since 2016.
Why is he still
now
there?
24.
Why? James Garner, he covered right back, didn't he? In the last game of the season.
Tell you whether he did or not.
But yeah, no.
No, he played right midfield, didn't he? Well, they played the
Right
weird
back.
thing. They just sort of sat everyone behind the ball for a
Damari
while.
Gray is another one I've question marks over.
I think Gray's a good player.
Yeah, he's good rotation.
He's showed some good
Yeah.
ability at some points this season.
I think they should be relegated next year. Just get him gone.
I want Everton to stay
Actually,
up.
I look at the teams. Tottenham could go.
Tottenham could go down.
Bournemouth, Sheffield United.
Everton have got to recruit.
Wolves,
But Everton have no
Palace,
money. What are they
Luton.
going to buy? But this is the problem. It's been so poorly run. They spent 20 million on Cenk Tosin and lost him for free.
He was brain dead. He doesn't have brains.
Yeah, that is what brain dead means.
He's not a footballer.
There's just some terrible business over the last few years. Davy Klaassen for 30 mil. They lost him on a free.
He wasn't very class.
He wasn't. No. Just no sort of idea of what they're doing. Solomon Rondon, I think, was employed by them at one point.
Somehow they've stayed up.
They had Carlo Ancelotti. Like, that's the insane thing. They had Ancelotti employed at one point. This is just their drop off has been ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they've got to recruit well.
I think they got lucky that they were just better. They keep doing this every year. They make sure they're better than 3 or 4 teams.
They've got to keep Daesh.
Right now,
Leicester. I think we'll start with, obviously. We're still going in order. Leicester City this year. Wow, what an underperformance.
they're relegated.
What a failure.
They were champions 7 years ago.
They've won an FA Cup since then. They've won a Community Shield. They've definitely got a top 10 side. How have they done this? Just how?
And they're in trouble because they're going to lose everyone.
Yeah, they are, yeah. Their squad's going to get absolutely ransacked. So if we look at their squad, right? I mean, just looking at their forwards, Vardy, Iheanacho, Daka, Barnes, they should be nowhere near a relegation fight.
Barnes will be gone. Madison will be gone. Tielemans is going.
Tielemans already going on a free. Madison's already going to leave. Wilfred Indeed, he's a good player, but
Dewsbury Hall could be picked up.
hopefully by
But they've been
Luton
left.
Town.
What, 2 things. A, the mentality. B, the defence.
I mean, yeah, Evans, Bertrand,
They've got a
Vestergaard,
few
Pereira,
injuries in this season.
Amati.
But Val Face, why?
He scored on the final day of the season, mate. Do not disrespect my boy Facey. He scored a brace against Liverpool.
Yeah. The thing is, I said the same thing like when Arsenal wanted Kyrgios.
You just made a noise at them.
No, you're in a relegation dogfight. Why are you bringing in an unproven?
Yeah, look
defender?
at what Everton did. They went and got Cody. They went and got Tarkovsky. They didn't go and get Valface.
Why would you get a geezer from Rennes?
I don't. But this is the problem. Leicester weren't in a relegation dogfight at the start of the year. They were signing talented players like they always do. So they weren't in that fight. But in January, they didn't do enough to try and stop themselves.
Rodgers and brought in Dean Smith because he's a survivor.
These are not the signs, by the way, you make in January when you need to stay up. Harry Suter, unproven
He's
centre
Australian,
half.
but that's it.
Tete, on loan
Why?
from Shakhtar.
I haven't seen him play a minute.
He's played 1,114. He's actually contributed 6 goals, 2 assists. He's had a good year.
When?
I know that's Liga. In the Prem, he got 1 goal. Then they signed Victor Christensen.
Who?
Who is a 20-year-old Danish left-back who has played 12 games for them.
When?
Zero recollection of him existing.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, he didn't play the final of the season. Luke Thomas did. He was back from injury. But this team should not have gone down. That starting
top
11. Equally, goalkeeper was a massive issue.
Oh,
for them.
why did you not sign a goalkeeper?
How do you sell Casper Michael and go, yeah, Danny Ward's going to be fine, mate. Do
That's
not
not free,
worry.
isn't it? And then replacing, and then they go in January. Our Ward hasn't been great. We're going to get our 3rd choice goalkeeper, Iverson. Why?
Why don't they just buy a keeper?
Just go get Even Bettinelli from Chelsea would have been better.
Yeah. Better now.
He would have been better than Iverson.
No, you just need to get a goalkeeper. They could have bought Kepa or Mendy.
Yeah, loaned out
20 mil.
Jed
I don't know.
Loaned Areola from West Ham.
Genuinely done anything.
Loaned anyone. From anyone.
A goalkeeper.
Tom Heaton.
Yeah.
Would have done
Jack
the trick.
Batland.
Yeah.
Anyone. But they didn't, and they ultimately been relegated.
Carl Darlow.
Here's an interesting point. Are they the best team to have been relegated from the Premier League?
One of them.
Okay, thank you. This is an audio podcast. We do just keep talking, but yeah, I do think.
I think
they're really strong.
Yeah, that I can't believe it. To be honest, that squad. I mean, I also say that squad will win the championship. No, it won't. Half of them will go.
But they should get a lot of money, and they should build a good team that wins the championship. But they
Who?
might not. They might just
They're
not
gonna
buy
buy
another
money.
goalkeeper, and Iverson's in goal again.
Oh, if Iverson's in goal next year, they don't come up.
Southampton will keep
Do
this,
you know what?
so they'll be strong. But the championship next season,
Everyone was a bit
mental.
surprised when Sunderland got relegated, and then they did a back-to-back relegation.
Oh,
Are
you
if
saying
if they get
back
ransacked and don't recruit well, and keep Iverson in goal or Danny Ward, whichever one they want, are they in a bit of trouble?
Yeah, definitely. Well, if they don't recruit well, but that's a big if because they should.
Who are they going to buy?
Just everyone, mate.
Equally, even if they lose half their squad, like they've got Daka, Vardy, and Iheanacho.
Right, Daka genuinely hits 100
That's what I'm
goals.
saying. Any of those three in the championship score double digits at least.
I don't know what, 10. Shit, they're not they? Just got 10.
I was
It's not a great
Daka gets
season.
30, Iheanacho gets 25, Vardy gets 20.
Vardy doesn't.
He does.
Vardy feels a hammy trying to run off the.
No, have you seen the championship
Alright, fine.
defenders?
Load him up with Red Bull and he'll run him out of it. Well, let's get Conor Gallagher.
Rotherham are somehow still in the championship. I don't know how they've done that.
Mate, no.
Daka's going to cook past them.
Enough. Anyway, Leeds
Now on to teams that
United.
probably should have gone down because they're rubbish.
What, if they've recruited actual footballers and not gone and bought like just complete shite all year, they'd have done well.
that?
They've spent so much money, Leeds.
On who?
Right, no,
Right.
genuinely.
Well, no,
Jorginho Rutter cost them 30 mil.
No. Let's start in chronological order. They first started the American Dream.
Right, we're going to transfers here. Rasmus Christensen was the first to join us. Red Bull man.
They went for the Salzburg American mix, and they brought in Christensen, Aronson, McKennie, Marsh, and
Marsh is already there.
yeah, I know. It's just part of the American Dream.
Okay.
And just Verba,
Who's he?
Maximilian Verba.
Oh,
left back.
right, yeah.
And the American Dream was complete rubbish. They
Christensen.
sacked that up halfway through the
Christensen,
year.
a good pickup. But.
Yeah.
Fine. Like, Interlaling got fit. Rocker, great signing. I don't know how that went wrong. Like, that's a good pickup
Yeah.
in my books, but didn't work. Tyler Adams, how the fuck did they do
It's
that?
part of the American Dream.
He's a good player, and they still failed. Like, he had a good year, to be fair.
Don't
to
get
him.
me wrong.
He's been injured a
obviously,
lot,
you can
actually.
keep going through the list. There's loads of brilliant players on there. But not one of them is Premier League proven.
Joe Robles is.
He's crap. Like, he is
Mate,
Why did they sign him?
They got him on a free from Betis. He's a backup keeper. Not too bad.
You'd have to pay me.
He's a backup
to take
keeper, and then they
Robles.
went, you know what, Melee's so bad, we're actually going to put Joel Robles in for a bit.
Mele had a really bad season.
I don't rate Melie. I don't know what people see in him. I mean, Robles, yeah, he conceded 4 on the final day, but Melie is...
He started all the games. Look at that.
He
Look at
started 4 at the end of the season, didn't give a single clean sheet.
Allardyce must hate Mele.
Conceded 11 in 4. Sinistera at 22 mil he's a good player, but was a complete throw a dart at the map, see who you buy.
I mean, their best
Ellis
player was
Platten video.
Somerville.
Yeah, he's got a brace against Liverpool, did nothing all year.
In
Willie
terms-
Gannon though, why didn't they play him? Like,
Well, this is what I was talking about in terms of
Such a good
some
player.
managers, right? Let's have a chat. Jesse Marsh is a good manager.
let's.
It didn't go right. They sacked him.
Oh, well, we've got January to go through yet.
On
but-
any planet, would you ever appoint Javi Gracia?
I don't know, man. Genuinely, like, why?
They must have been drunk, or when they were looking from. I cannot. I just don't understand what went through their brain.
No, not.
He is possibly quite hands
So
down.
incompetent.
Possibly one of the worst Premier League managers we've ever seen.
He's could be at fault now. you could put a large proportion of the blame on him for 2 relegations.
Yes, you could.
Because, well, I mean, Watford, to be fair, could have been only the 6 people that managed him that year.
And then after that, they realised they'd done wrong, sacked him, and they went, we just have to throw
Do you
some
think if they kept Marsh until the end of the season, they'd have stayed up?
Because he'd have done so much. Anyone would have done better than Harry Gracia. I think
because they would have picked up more points in that Gracia run. Anyway, January, Verba for 11 mil is unproven. Rutter, 24 mil. 24
Hoffenheim, that's daylight robbery.
He's a good player though. Looking at his Bundesliga numbers, right, he's scored 2 goals in 15.
Got one start.
What do they see in him? I remember seeing like a compilation and go from like when he joined. I was going, oh, he could be good. I was looking at his stats. He scored 2 goals in 15 matches in the Bundesliga.
Compilation then.
That's what I hate.
A different guy.
Yeah, they got the wrong bloke. I don't know how he's.
And then this next one, baffled. Like, how has this not worked?
I just want to applaud Hoffenheim because they are masters at. How have they done
that? The next one, let's talk about this one.
Hoffenheim, no, fish off. But yeah, I can't. Rutter, what a weird one. 25 million makes no sense.
Weston McKennie. How did this fail?
Makes you not. I don't know.
The best thing about him is he's got the American flag in his hair.
That was quite cool.
That is pretty cool.
But he's. I don't know.
He got 1 goal.
No, he didn't. That was in the Serie A.
You got no goals.
No goals, 1 assist.
16 starts.
Minutes.
And average rating is what, 6.47.
Yeah, so not stunning.
Understatement of the century.
He actually won less tackles than he should have.
There is no debate this Leeds side deserved to go down. And they should have gone down.
What some weird pickups.
Who's there on there?
I genuinely don't know that man is. I have not seen him. Who is Diego Montero? Like
he got 3 started in 1 game.
And that's in the Swiss league.
He's playing for the Leeds United under-23s.
I don't know what he's done there. He's not played for him. There's no recollection of him.
He's in Resi's in the under-23s.
He played for a team in Switzerland called Serviette, who finished second. He finished second in the Super League to Young Boys.
I can imagine them talking about him to Sam Allardyce. So they're going to get his guy from Serviette. And he's just got on that. Got his food out, but he's just Serviette.
He's just some random Portuguese child. The only games he's played, he's got 1 appearance for the Portugal under-15s on his football breakout. That's it.
He's played.
Some 12 appearances for the U17s. So he's got 2 goals for centre half. I don't know what
it was. A horrific season, and I think Leeds. How they managed to last to the final day, I do not know.
Sat him on the bench in February, and then went, nah, not worth it, is it? Just send him to the Resi.
I genuinely. How they managed to get to the final day, I do not know.
Oh, they should have done better.
They were rubbish.
They failed to replace Rafinha. Oh, sorry, they did. They replaced him with some
Bamford
guy from Fulham. Bamford was crap this year. Rodrigo was good to start the year and then just fell off a cliff.
And I think Marsh did meh.
Mate, they considered 78 goals.
Marsh did meh. Allardyce did meh. Javi Gracia in the middle is why they're down.
From 78 goals.
That's more than 2 a game.
That's ridiculous. That's more than Southampton, 5 more than Southampton, 10 more than Leicester, 21 more than Everton.
What happened? Javi Gracia happened.
But they scored 48. Which is
but I think it falls on Gracia, yes, but it falls on the club to appoint such a crap manager.
Yeah. I mean, what a mental year for them.
Was Bielsa sacked this year?
They haven't won a game since April. Since the 4th of April. No. They have drawn 2 in that time to Leicester and Newcastle.
They deserve to go down. Hang on. So realistically, after that Forest win, they'd have been in a great position, no? They've been out of relegation zone.
But we weren't sacked, yeah. Does home form change anything for them? If it was just on the home games, they would have won the league. They would have won the league. They would have survived.
But away from home,
Forest would have been bottom and their leads.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're the 2 teams that ride.
Mate, if it was just on away form, Arsenal won the league, by the way. So Brighton got Champions League. Southampton would have finished 16th, just off away form.
Leeds were horrific, yes, but
Tottenham still would have got Europe.
I don't think I've seen a Premier League team worse than Southampton in the last few years.
God, I don't know though.
No,
right.
They were horrific.
Southampton didn't sign players to play in the Premier League. Southampton signed a Championship squad, and it's like the best Championship squad of all time. And it is a good young squad. Like, I can see what they're trying to do there.
You look at the squad list, and you see the first two things you see are manager Ruben Sedas. He's not a manager. Second thing you see is Willie Caballero. I look at those two things and go, not staying at the
goalkeeper was an issue because Bazunu's good, but he needed a year in the Championship.
And Alex McCarthy is flappy hands.
He'll be excellent next season in the Championship. I'm convinced of it. So, defenders, I mean, they brought in Bree at one point. Can't explain that one. Livramento and Walker Peters, they were sensational.
Livramento getting injured didn't help, but still.
Genuinely though, right? If they hadn't sacked Hasenhüttl, could they have made an escape? Because they were only 10 points away from safety.
Did they have any other manager apart from Hasenhüttl and Sedas?
Yeah, fucking Nathan Jones.
Oh my god, yeah. That's why they're relegated.
That's what I'm saying.
I forgot that. Why did I forget that happened? He was only there like 10 minutes.
I mean, they've also not won since the 4th of March. They've genuinely not won a game of football since the 4th of March. They've beaten Chelsea and Leicester.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
And Everton and... that's it.
They got to an EFL Cup semi-final.
2023, they have won 3 matches in the league.
I mean, they only beat Lincoln City 2-1. They lost to Grimsby. They lost to Grimsby.
They did lose to Grimsby. They did beat City in the EFL Cup.
They got to an EFL Cup semi-final, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know what's happened. There's so much weird. Southampton will waltz the Championship.
They will, but we're reviewing this season, and it was possibly one of the worst Premier League seasons we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, probably rivals that Huddersfield campaign
Norwich.
from like 2020, 21, 2019. Can't remember when they were crap.
But everyone says Norwich is such a yo-yo club.
Trying to remember when they got sacked. When did Huddersfield just die?
I can't remember.
Not 2019-20. 18-19. Yeah, they got 16 points. That would be probably the worst team I've seen in recent years. Because they were just so bad.
How did Southampton get?
25.
So they were 13 points adrift of safety?
10, no? Let's have a look.
10?
They weren't that far off, I don't think.
I thought Everton got onto 36.
Well, that'd be 11 then. Either way, your maths is tragic.
No, I thought they were 38.
11 in it, yeah. 36 to
11.
25. Forest are on 38.
That's 4 wins. They were rubbish.
They weren't good.
And take Ward-Prowse's free kicks and set pieces away, they finish on 5 points.
Yeah, that's like
They
saying...
don't beat Chelsea.
Yeah, but equally if you take Haaland away...
City's still in the league.
Obviously, but they don't... Do they this year?
Yes. We're not having this debate now.
36 goals, a lot of goals for Rose.
Doesn't matter, they've still won the league by one by Cantor anyway.
Okay.
Southampton were complete rubbish, but as you said, they all waltz the
Championship, they are automatics. Like, that is the only thing. I think we'll do Championship predictions this year, just so we can have a complete stab in the dark. That's the only thing I know. They're going to finish first or second. Everyone else, let's spin a wheel to find out, because I ain't got a clue what's going on there. Not a Scooby. Yeah. Anything could happen in the Championship next year. Unpredictable.
But you also, it's going to be interesting though, because you look at the teams that went down last year. Norwich haven't come back up. Watford haven't come back up.
It's going to be such a stacked Championship.
Who else went down?
What, from last year?
Yeah.
Burnley would come back up.
Burnley did come back up. Burnley came up flying.
I'm sure the Championship next season is looking ridiculous.
It is.
Because it's such a stacked league now, because it's just got so many good, or like half decent sides. Right, you've got Birmingham crap. Blackburn, they're going to be alright. Bristol City, Cardiff, Coventry could have gone up this year. They'll be competitive again. Huddersfield, Hull aren't horrendous. Ipswich are I think they could go back to back.
Maybe.
Probably not automatics, but they could definitely be up there. Then you've got Leeds going down, should be still a strong side. Leicester, Middlesbrough should be up there again. Millwall should be up there again. Norwich should go back to the top. Plymouth, who knows what they're going to do. Preston, QPR, Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday back up now. Southampton, Stoke, Sunderland, Swansea, Watford, West Brom.
It is going to be interesting. But, I mean, what a year this was.
Sunderland should be strong again. No clue what's going there. But yeah, Premier League, what a season. Incredible.
A lot of ups, a lot of downs. Next season, I think, could be even better. But we're over and out for 2022-23 in terms of Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 9 weeks, so not long until we're back. But, yeah, Premier League 22-23 season is over. 23-24 preparations now begin.
Congrats, Man City.
Yeah, congratulations. We will, of course, be keeping all of you guys updated with all the Premier League stuff that happens over the summer. We'll be doing we did a daily podcast series last summer where we ran through every Premier League side and talked about what they need to do to survive. We might do that. We think we will do that this year.
Yeah.
At some point. We don't know whether that'll be earlier in the summer or late in the summer, but it'll definitely be after the Champions League final at the very earliest. But yeah, basically we just run through every side, talk about what they need to do, and talk about what they have done.
Yeah.
For when we get later, because obviously they're getting close to the start of the window, start of the season. But yeah, not long now to the new season. Of course, we've still got 4 European finals. Speaking of which, join us for 4 finals, 3 European finals. But speaking of which, join us for all of them. We are live today, when this goes out.
Tonight.
Saturday for the FA Cup final, then Conference League final in a week's time, and then the Champions League final after that. We're live for all of them. Join us for all of them. There are going to be, hopefully, some very good games in there. But yeah, that is everything for today. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. It massively helps us on hopefully reaching our goal of 2,500 subscribers before the end of the year. If you've enjoyed the content, get involved in the comments as well. Keep the conversation going. Want to hear from you guys what you thought of our discussion today, what you thought of all the Prem teams, whether you enjoy these really long ones. I think we are at an hour 40.
We're looking at an hour 36.
Okay, yeah, almost an hour 40. So yeah, a long episode today. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you're listening on Spotify, then make sure to press all the fun buttons that do fun things, or whatever audio platform you happen to be listening on. That is all from us today, though. Thank you all very much for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.